block. Okay.
I got you, Kyle.
Hey, still friends?
Still friends.
Good brothers.
I just can't believe y'all did that to me.
By the way, work together, man. Dude, I wasn't responsible.
It was your idea. I just heard it in my ear. It was your idea, Scott.
Marshawn got 11 yards on the play there, so you did your job.
Sacrificial lamb.
I don't know if he did.
That linebacker. As we welcome you to NFL Total Access, Scott Hansen here with the aforementioned Thomas and Michael, who are reunited on live television here. Anything could happen, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, we start with an eyebrow-raising report out of Detroit. Bernie Smilovitz, he is a longtime sports anchor at WDIV-TV in Detroit, reporting that the Lions are in trade talks to deal Matthew Stafford. And that reportedly the Lions have been talking with teams for, quote-unquote, a couple of weeks. The Lions, for their part, are denying the report. Rumor involving a former #1 overall pick and a Pro Bowl quarterback deserves a little more attention here. So let's bring in NFL media insider Ian Rappaport. What are you hearing about this, Ian, and what should we make of this report?
Not very much. In fact, this report makes no sense for a lot of reasons. First of all, Matthew Stafford is coming off what was going to be the best season of his career before he had that injury and missed the second half of the season, thanks in part to the work from Darrell Bevell and Sean Ryan, the quarterback's coach. Stafford was off and running last year, being the kind of franchise quarterback they want to build around, not the kind of quarterback that you deal. But that's, of course, not the only reason that the Lions are simply not going to deal Matthew Stafford. If they did that, they get a $30 million dead money cap charge, something that just is not viable in today's game. Plus, if they did trade Stafford, which they're not going to, who actually would be their quarterback? They picked third in the draft. There's no guarantee that they would get any quarterback that they actually want. All of this adds up to the fact that Stafford isn't going anywhere this year, and that's about all I can say about that report.
All right, very good. We'll have you back later in the show, Ian Rappaport, to talk Tom Brady and Drew Brees. A little bit more news on those guys as well. Look, at true or not, the Lions lost 12 of the last 13 games.
Yep.
Stafford was hurt for half of last season. Should they trade him or consider trading him?
I mean, I think they should at least think about it, right? Especially if you're going to have a team out there that's going to give up some first-round picks or whatever the case may be to get Matthew Stafford. Look, there's no qualms about it. Matthew Stafford can throw the football. But throwing the football doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win games, and that's the most important number. The Detroit Lions have not won a lot of games since Matthew Stafford has been here. Yes, he has over 40,000 passing yards. Yes, he has almost 300 passing touchdowns and almost 300 passing yards per game. But that doesn't always equate into wins. And he makes a lot of money, has made a lot of money for a very long time. So how can you ever build a team around him?
Let me stop you right there. No one is going to give up any first-round picks for Matthew Stafford. I love Matthew Stafford. He's a Georgia Bulldog. We stick together. Nobody's going to give up any first-round picks for him. He's an older quarterback. He's coming off of a back injury. When first talked about, they said that it could have possibly been career-ending. Nobody's going to give up any first-round picks. I think somebody will give up some late-round picks for him, but you also have to factor in the amount of money that he's making, the amount of cap space he's going to take up if another team was to bring him in. So he's going to be in Detroit. Hopefully he's going to be healthy, and hopefully they have a good season.
But he's been in Detroit. He's been in Detroit for what, the last 11 years, and it just is equated to a 69-79 record. I mean, at the end of the day, if you keep him, you're probably going to lose your job next year, Matt Patricia. I mean, for real, because where do you go from here?
If you get rid of him, chances are you're probably going to lose your job because you have a huge cap hit that you're going to have to take in dead money if you cut him. And also, who's going to be your quarterback? Who's to say that you're going to bring in a guy that's going to play better than Matthew Stafford has played for them at the quarterback position?
But that team has to play better. The entire
absolutely.
team.
Absolutely. True. But like you said, 11 years, he's the all-time leader in passing yards for the Lions franchise, the all-time leader in passing touchdowns, and yet playoff wins?
That's what I'm saying. That's why we play this game, right?
This is a team game.
Wins. Better the playoffs three times.
It's a team game.
All right, guys, I got some other news regarding another veteran quarterback. Let's get to Ben Roethlisberger now. He's on record as saying he's coming back from last year's elbow injury, says he's going to be better than ever in 2020. Well, today, Steelers general manager Kevin Colbert said that the team is more optimistic going into 2020 than they were going into 2019, even though Big Ben was healthy going into last season. So, He's the GM. He wants to exude confidence. We get that there. You guys can take a little colder, subjective or objective eye on this one right now. How confident should Steelers fans be about Ben coming back and about the Pittsburgh prospects going into this year?
Listen, we all know the accolades. We know what Big Ben has been able to do throughout his career. I look at the injury, and from my perspective, as a player that has played this game for a while and has gone through a ton of injuries, I know that if it's something that I can possibly play with, I'm going to try to do it. I know the quarterback, your elbow, that's a little different.
Just throwing elbow.
And it's been Roethlisberger. He likes the drama a little bit. Just keep it funky, man.
We kind of heard that Ben could have come back and played. And the Steelers defense did a great job last year of keeping them in the playoff hunt. And he could have come back, and he could have been a part of that playoff run, possibly, but he chose not to.
Are you questioning hunger then a little bit, or desire?
I just think that he kind of looked at the roster and the way things started out last year, and he kind of gave up on the team, in my opinion.
You think he checked out? You think he probably could have came back, but saw, man, we ain't got AB. I ain't got nobody on the outside. I ain't got my running back. Let me go ahead and sit this one out. You think that's what happened?
From my standpoint and from outside looking in, that's kind of how I took it.
I think Ben Roethlisberger has something to prove. And I know there's a lot of Steelers fans out there that's going to say, Mike, he's a two-time Super Bowl champion. He has all types of passing records. He can put the ball anywhere on the field that you want him to. He's all of that. But when they won in 2005 and 2008, it was led by a great running game and a great defense. Ever since this team has had to exclusively lean on Ben Roethlisberger's arm, what have they done? They get to the playoffs to get close, but they haven't won the big one. I think it's Ben Roethlisberger, and again, he'll be a Hall of Famer. But if he really wants to be mentioned amongst the true greats of this game, the Tom Brady's, the Joe Montana's, those types of guys, he's going to have to will his team back to a Super Bowl and win it exclusively off his arm. Because I think, just like you just said, Thomas, the defense is there. They have a championship defense. They have pass rushers. They showed last year they can win games with their defense. Ben Roethlisberger has something to prove.
I think the Steelers are going to have to do something to reignite that fire. They're going to have to go into this draft and get some of these exciting receivers that are in this draft. There are a ton of them.
Stacked
receivers that they can get. They can bring some of those guys in. They can possibly have a marriage back with Antonio Brown. Who knows?
You think AB will come back?
He apologized. I think AB is kind of selling himself. He's apologizing.
But the quarterback is still there.
I know.
The team structure's still there. What you was mad about is still there.
No, but he just came out. Antonio Brown just came out recently and said he didn't know how good he had it in Pittsburgh.
Right.
But again,
we've seen
and people question whether Antonio's saying that just to try and get another NFL paycheck, or whether he really means it. We can't get into that right now. We can get into this. Ben has been busy, even though he's not throwing footballs these days. He's been busy. Ben at a West Virginia University.
Which one is Ben? To the right. That's Ben.
Ben is on the right. That's the WVU, West Virginia mascot, the Mountaineer, of course, on the left. That is Big Ben on the right.
Totally committed to winning the Super Bowl.
Going virtually full Brett Kiesel right there. Gentlemen.
He said he totally committed to winning the Super Bowl right now?
Totally.
Oh, really?
Sure.
You saying that sarcastically, I'm assuming.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if Ben should have been at it. West Virginia and Pittsburgh, the Pitt Panthers, those are arch rivals, traditionally speaking. So I don't know, Ben, cavorting with the enemy right there with some of the Pittsburgh faithful.
Go get you a Super Bowl, Ben.
Get it, and a razor.
I didn't say that, Scott.
The 49ers did the impossible, going from the number 2 overall pick to the Super Bowl.
Feel super, baby!
That's one heck of a glow-up. Now, the teams at the top of this year's draft are wondering if they are one piece away from a Super Bowl run of their own. And maybe it's not so impossible after all. What's definitely possible is a big payday for some of the league's biggest quarterbacks. None of these guys are playing backup, but our team's going